Welcome. Yeah. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Pull my boots up, make life a little bit better. At least for me. I don't know about you guys, but just for me. Woo! So, craziness. That's all I got to say. Craziness. We got the moon in Sagittarius right now. And the sun and Uranus are sextiling over, making a quincunx over to the moon. So we have a yod there in the heavens right now. And that yod is, when you look at it, it's like, with the yod it goes like this and everything comes down pointing to the moon. And then where where the moon, like where that energy is being pushed out into is in Gemini. So we have the a push out into the energies of Gemini. So it's it's at a point of where are we where are we communicating? How are we communicating? How are we connecting? How are we getting what it is that we need? What are you questioning? So we have a lot of, that type of focus coming in right now. And we are at a point where there's a lot of things changing, a lot of, pages moving, pages turning. And I put, keep hope alive today because in my morning studies and stuff what I'm doing, a lot has been coming about hope. Now, I have an issue with the word hope. That's just me because I found hope is like, oh, I just want need hope. I just need hope. And I always found that hope was sort of a kind of like on the lower vibrational energy field. But the more I step into it, it's like you need that basis in order for you to really you need to have that hope, that faith in order to keep things going. Now, we are coming up to this full moon. And just saying, I have the full moon readings on sale right now for $30. This isn't just any full moon. This is a very powerful full moon. It's at 29 degrees. It's going to be conjunct with Pluto, as Pluto's at 0 degrees and is going to be in Capricorn in about the next 43 to 44 days, and then sit at that point until November. This is where it's a turning point. This is also where, for Pluto coming back in there, it is bringing up everything about 2020. Biden just got COVID. And so he couldn't make his speech and stuff. He's not able to come out. There's so many the senator of California who has a lot of power within the Democratic Party, but is saying, you know what, you got to step down. This isn't, you know, this isn't where you need, you got to go to the home, but Joe, you got to go to the home. The lodge is waiting for you. Let's get going. So we're going to be finding, as especially with all these pages, but the thing is that a lot of people are wanting to go forward. Oh, we just want to just be done with all of this. We're not done, because with Pluto going back there and with all of the, with the frequencies and that are coming in, it's getting us to relook at what was going on in 2020, from that Jupiter Saturn connection to the 0 degrees in Aries where Saturn and Jupiter met. We are coming into, highlights. This is about highlighting, right? And what those highlights are. Or is this a way to get Joe? It's a way to get Joe out. It's, it's all of this is playing, because if you saw his last speech, it he would say his statement very loudly, and then he'd be, oh yeah, whatever. And it's it's like, okay, this man's not coherent. You could tell that he has forms of Parkinson's just with some of the actions that he's doing, with his hands like this. Eyes not blinking is a sign of Parkinson's. So there's a lot of things that are going on there that he's not getting support from the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party are just saying, let's go, let's get him out. And then we'll put Kamala Harris in charge right now. So there's a lot of big shifts that are coming in, but there's also where 2024 was a year it's not a year of being comfortable. It's not a year of saying, oh, I just want to just fly by the seat of my pants. No, this is a year of being very uncomfortable for the changes that are coming in. And the other thing is that we're not getting a full moon in Cancer this year at all. Like, there's no full moon in Cancer. At least a full moon in Cancer gives you some that that coziness, that what is it that we need to look at. And the ironic thing about and I love how the universe works, the full moon came in at the beginning of Capricorn, and this last full moon is going out at the end of Capricorn. So we got to look at the 2008 to 2024. The changes that have happened in our world, the discoveries that have happened in our world from our governments, our institutions, our corporations. This is bringing all of this in and getting us to really, honestly, take a look at it. Now, we also have to look at everything that has happened in the last few days. However you want to look at it, whether it was a lone shooter, whether it was an inside job for the attempted assassination, or was it Trump? He set it all up. However you want to look at it, there is just so much at play here that is going on. And how it played out was by there is some divine intervention that came in here, because that missed him by 1 millimeter, which would have been the start of a huge civil war in the States. That would have brought in a total upheaval, that I don't think the world's ready for. Well, whether they're ready for it or not, but it would have brought in something that would have been unprecedented before. So we have this energy that's coming in, and that is approaching. And with that Pluto Capricorn, it's bringing up the end. It's bringing up a lot. And with this double full moon, it is illuminating. That's what the full moon, it illuminates. So there's an illumination of this full moon, this illuminating of what was going on in 2020. And even going back to 2008. So it's bringing in all of this, of these frequencies that are being shown in the world. And we don't want to see it. People don't want to see it. They're tired. They don't want to do it. But this is a push, a push for it to be seen, a push for things to be seen. And where Trump got shot was in the exact line of the eclipse. Wasn't right on the X, but he was in that line of the eclipse, even from 2017 to the one that just happened a few months ago. So there's an exact sign. So we are going to see a lot more coming in within that, where that line of the eclipse was, from 2017 and to the one that just happened recently. And then we are going into eclipse season again as we are heading into October. So we are being pressured to really take a look, not only of that at the world scene, because these are world points, and those are going to have a huge influence in our own world, in how we are stepping forward and how we think, and how the world will be, to how this is unfolding in our own life, and how we are stepping forward within our own lives and within our own sovereignty. And the more we're going to see the craziness come out. We had our PM just announce that, the Toronto rain was from climate change. So that's going to give him some excuse to raise some taxes. We just had the CBC come out and have an ad and say, well, anybody can apply except white people. Excuse me? Because it's supposed to be inclusion. It includes everybody except if you're white. So we're having this come in and really show in people's face to a point of, are you waking up yet? Are you seeing the bullshit that's being written on the wall? I have been applying, for work because I have to work. And just to find a job has been crazy. And we were in Safeway, I think it was about a week ago. I have to put my hair up. I can't do it anymore. About a week ago. And I asked, the manager's there, and I'm like, "Are you hiring?" And he goes, "Yeah, we're hiring. You just have to go online, blah, 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 and put your application in and stuff like that." I said, "Oh, okay." And then, you know, one woman was, she was just sort of like, "Oh, you're looking to work here?" And I'm just like, "Yeah." Oh, and unfortunately, the woman she just said to me, she goes, "I've been working for Safeway for a long time." She goes, "You can put your application in, but they probably won't hire you." And I'm just like, I thought it was just, first of all, weird that she'd fucking say that to me. I'm just like, "Oh, why?" Well, she goes, "You don't have an accent." And that's all she said to me. And I was just like, I don't have an accent. And then I sort of looked around. I'm not Ukrainian. I'm not a new immigrant. I'm not brown. I'm not black. I don't wear a hijab, so I'm not Islamic or Muslim or whatever the fuck. And I was just like, "Oh, interesting." And she goes, "Unless you're really young, because they know that they won't, a student or something like that, because they can get extra credit and stuff by looking good, with um, with the, you know, with the government and stuff, because then it's like basically, if they hire young people like the Gen Zs, because they're usually, part of the alphabet community. And this is where it's like, you step back, and it just sort of hit me. And and then Steve and I, we had to get going because we had to catch the bus. So this was just like, what the fuck? And then you see an ad come out by a taxpayer funded, um radio station or TV station, that if you're white, don't apply. Like, boldly saying that in their ad. There's the energies, and that is the craziness of it all. I mean, anybody who is working right now, hang on to it as long as you can right now, because it's just going to get crazy, right? And I won't be going back to Arcadia in September, October. It's too difficult for me to get there, and then because I'd be working the night shift and stuff like that, for me to get there and stuff would be way too difficult for me to get there, and catching the train and stuff like that, and stuff. So if you're over 35, don't bother applying. Yeah. Well, and the other thing, the average age right now in the United States is 39. That's the average age right now in the States, is 39 years old. So this is where a lot of this is going to start coming up, right? We're an aging population. And there have been some MPs that are, well, in Britain, that are stepping up and speaking against the Islamic community. Not saying that they don't want to work with the Islamic community, but telling the Islamic community that they have failed in trying to get along with everybody else. And that's another part of everything that's coming in, right? Especially when Pluto goes back into Capricorn. We're going to start seeing where it's like all of these laws or woke ideologies that have come in, and same with Neptune retrograding in Pisces. It's showing us, it's revealing all of this. It's revealing all of this of what people said. Oh, we got to be inclusive. We got to accept. Otherwise, you are whatever. You are a racist. You are this. You are that. This is all coming in, and then with that full moon in Capricorn, it is illuminating the unfolding and the disruption. And that assassination is not the end of what is going to be unveiled, especially with what's going on. And I have to say to Canadians, if there is a civil war in the United States, don't think it's not going to hit us. They're our biggest trade for Canada. And so there will be a disruption within the trade, within how things are run, the amount of money that comes into Canada. It'll be very interesting how it will affect us economically. So all of this is coming into a huge pressure cooker. And today, with the energies that are coming forth, and especially with the moon, it is trying to get us to come back to a place of understanding, of where we can put things into perspective, being in Gemini. What do we need to learn from this? How do we need to go forward from this? And how can we create a more hopeful place within inside ourselves? And that's where the challenge is. That's the biggest challenge that we will have. And this is where this challenge is going to have us come back to a very strong spiritual base, whatever that spiritual base is for you. And it's not just to this is a commitment. Like, this isn't just a half-assed, oh, I'm just doing a little meditation. No, this is a full throttle coming in and making a stance within your spirituality and not bypassing it. Because when you're bypassing that part of who you are, whether you're a psychic, you're a medium, you're an astrologer, you're a holistic healer, you're a yoga teacher, whatever it is that you do, if you don't have a strong spiritual base, and I'm serious about this, like a strong meditative practice in the morning and in the evening, a strong prayer practice, it's going to be very difficult for people to go forward. They're going to find it harder for themselves mentally, because they're going to feel like they have to do it all themselves, or that they're doing it half-assed, and they're just saying, oh yeah, whatever, yeah, I do my meditations. No, this is consciously making that effort, because that's the vibration that creates the positive change, that brings in the ripples to come in and bring in the positive ripples. That means that when we doing, because a prayer is meditation is coming in, we're bringing that energy, we're bringing in the frequencies of the divine to come forth with us, in us, and around us, so that we are able to come out, and shine. And that whatever is happening within our lives, we are able to hand it over to our divine, to our God, and to our goddess. And in handing that over, we have the feast day of Our Lady of Mary Magdalene coming up on the 22nd. And I love this day because this is looking at unconditional love, because that's what she represents. The unconditional love of whatever is going on in my life, how anyone persecutes me, I can step into forgiveness. I can step into love. I can step into faith. I can step into my hope, and I can step into the joy. But it has to be done on an everyday basis. And if it's not done on an everyday basis, it's going to be harder to deal with what is going to be unfolding in the next coming weeks, and how we are going to be able to stand within our strength and within our light. because it is going to get more and more intense. It's not going away. It's not going away. And this intensity that's happening, especially in the States, and I've said before, if an election happens, this is so many things, have come forward about a lot of the craziness. And then in the EU, what is her name? Von der Leyen, was just voted back into the EU, and she's been up on charges. So this is just like, I don't like her. She's that, I don't know. Yeah. But this is where, the fight's going to come in. This is where, even in the BRICS, within Russia, the Republic of Russia, he's wanting to bring in a centralized currency, right? So that brings in more control. Centralized government means that you don't have the freedom to do as what you want to do. This is going to be the fight for freedom. A fight for us to step up and say, no, we want to be able to make our choices. We don't want a digitalized currency. We want to be able to have a dollar and pay somebody that dollar, right? We want to be able to have some cash in our hands, or put the $5 into our grandson's card, or $20, or whatever it is, or being able to say, here, go to the store, here's $5 or something. There's something about that, because that brings in a sense of pride. It brings in a sense of ownership. And that's all part of us coming together and doing our prayers and meditations. It's about creating that and creating that newness. And it is through all of this darkness, through all of this disruption, there is light, but we are only at the beginning of, we've just come out of the lobby and we're standing at the reception, and we haven't fully gone into the boardroom yet. So this is where it's like, okay, be prepared. Be prepared. Be prepared spiritually. Be prepared in however other ways that you can. Things will hit you unexpectedly. I don't think the people in Toronto expected rainfall to come down so much. This is where Canadians are going to really start fighting back and saying, fuck this. We're not going to be paying these taxes anymore, because a lot of people are paying 54-55% tax here in Canada. But the thing is, you're not getting anything really a whole lot in return. There's still wait lines, for us to go to the hospital. You still have to pay for your prescriptions. People still have to pay for childcare. It's not really, distributed in a way that it really helps people around them, right? And that's the whole thing, right? I just got some place just declared a state of emergency, and I'm not too. Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh, it's going to be interesting. Okay. Yeah. So this is, stand in it. We got Freeland knows this is her final interview. So Freeland is going bye-bye, and she knows it. Well, we know that she's probably going to be taken care of. It's not a big deal. But yeah, it's just going to get ugly, before it gets better. And where they just accepted 90,000 more illegal immigrants into the UK. So hey, baby, time to start praying and standing up. I have nothing against immigration. I have nothing against any other race. In fact, my husband's an immigrant. I come from an immigrant family, but it's the way that a family, as you come in as a family. Steve moved here because his family was here. So you're coming in as a family. You're not coming in as a single young male without your family. Totally different, right? So this is and wanting to bring forth your family over either. So many of them don't have ties to any family. So that's even more interesting. So yeah, this astrology, when I look at it, it's just like, can we just scramble them up and do something different? But then again, it's part of this divine intervention on getting us to grow, right? And being able to grow. Yeah, your parents came over at 56. Yeah. And to come over at that age, just saying they would have money. Somebody coming over to this country at that age, you definitely have to be financially settled, you know, um, and have some kind of financial backing sort of thing, and not be, y- you know, young, because usually a lot of people come over in their youth. Oh, they came over in 1956. Oh, okay. I thought you meant they came over when they're 50 in their 56 and stuff like that. Well, 1956, the economy was booming. There was jobs. And to come over in 1956 too was a time of bringing, new people over. There it was just 10 years after the war. So there was a lot of jobs, right? So there was jobs here. There was work for people. You could buy a house for like $7,000. You could buy a car, you can have a car. Um, so the economy was booming at that time, right? You're coming people coming into Canada now, they're coming into what? The economy is not booming. There are no jobs, you know, and the jobs that they are, I mean, this is like where priority is given to somebody. So if you have somebody who just graduated from IT, the priority is not to give the job to the young Canadian who just graduated with an IT degree. It's to give it to somebody else who's a refugee or some immigrant who came from India or wherever it was, nothing against people coming in from India, that job before the Canadian. And the same thing is happening in the United States. So then I can bring this young person in. Oh, I'm going to hire that person because it's a lower wage, right? And that's the horrible thing that's happening. So now we're going to be having this young population who just graduated again. There are IT jobs, right? There are IT jobs, but they're not going to get the IT jobs because the IT jobs are going to go to the immigrants. And the immigrants that aren't coming in legally. They're coming into to the refugees. They're getting the priority. They're the ones who are getting an automatic PR card. They don't have to wait the 5 years anymore. So for us, like, it's a it's like, okay. And that's the long and the short of it. This is where, as I say, if you got a job right now, hang on to it. You know? Um, because the other part too is that I'll hire a refugee because they're not gonna tell me that, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that. Okay, I'll do this, I'll do that. All right, how many? Oh, you want me to stay overtime? Okay, I'll stay overtime. Oh, you want me to do her job too? Oh, okay. They will do that. Shop like not a real stores opening up, but they have them. Chinese are coming in within 2 years, and they have their cards, and that's wrong. It used to be 5 years. You had to wait. You had to wait. You know, um, for whatever it is. I mean, Steve is, he's a permanent resident. And we're refiling for his card, but we have to prove that that's him, right? It's it's quite a kerfuffle right now, for everything, for him to get everything. And I know he's a little bit miffed that we should have got his citizenship years ago, which probably, yes, we should have. Circumstances, shit, whatever goes on happens in our life, but it's all of the rigmarole that you have to go through now to get it. But if he came in as an illegal refugee, he would have his permanent residence and his Canadian citizenship with under a year. And that's wrong. Without being vetted. Right? And that's all within the astrology, the biggest immigration coming in. It started, and the thing is that when we see these things unfold and we look at the astrology, it's like, okay, well, when Jupiter was in Sagittarius, that was a big explosion on immigration and change and everything along that line. And then as he came into when he eventually came into Capricorn was, about 2019, 2020, right? And then in 2021 went into Aquarius, right? So we saw this energy coming in, and also about policies. So he's bringing these frequencies in about policies. What about these policies? And of course, Capricorn with Pluto and Saturn in there at that time. That's why everything's coming up from 2020 again, right? Everything's coming up. So when these policies start coming up again, we're starting to look at policies on immigration. We're starting to look at policies about inclusiveness, and we're looking at things of COVID. I'm not saying we're having lockdowns or anything, just, but you're going to hear, Joe Biden, what is he, goes back to 2020 and he has COVID. How many people have come up and said lately, oh, I have COVID and I can't work, right? It's like, people are like, yeah, I had it, whatever. It's, and supposedly he's vaxxed to the hilt. So, so that's part of the craziness. That's part of the changes that, that we're going to be faced with. We're going to be shown this. And this full moon, between the full moon in Capricorn, two of them, right? This is going to really get you to look at things seriously and not half-assed. Capricorn's not an easy sign. God bless my Capricorns out there, sun, moon, rising, but Capricorns are fucking assholes. I have to say that. It's an asshole sign. It's ruled by Saturn. Saturn's an asshole. Saturn wants you to have things a certain way. You do it this way. That's the only way you do it. You can't do it that way because that's not the way. That's not in my in my foundation. That's not in my boundaries. It has to be this way. What time? No, we're doing it now because this is the time I'm doing it. What you want it done differently? No, you're not going to do it differently. We've done it always this way. Why are you changing it? That's Capricorn, right? So you got a government who's done, well, we've always had backdoor deals. We've always had underhanded deals. We've always done things and, patted people's hands. And it's coming up and you're saying, no, you can't do this anymore. No, you're being exposed. How quickly how quickly videos came out about the assassination. In showing the guy's information and everything. I mean, because people on the internet are like, what the hell? He was, here's the strange one. He was a Republican. He did stand out as a Republican. The donation part, they've done the information and they found that's not. There is another person of the same name who's a lot older than him. He couldn't have made the $15 donation to the Democrat Party because he would have only been 17. So that didn't make any sense. But I know a lot of people are going with it. And that address that they have on there is just, different. But anyways, the thing is, the FBI are known to take people who don't have a right mind, who don't have, to infiltrate them, to, you know, if you have like a delusional love for somebody, and we've seen it where you have, we've seen it in the past where people like, oh, I love you so much that nobody else can have you but me, so I'm going to kill you and I'm going to kill me and we're going to be together ever after, right? I mean, that's another scenario of the whole thing. A lot of people are saying, Trump did it. I just look at this, look at the astrology and I'm just like, okay. And then in that lineup with the eclipse, wow, that's just, yeah, there's, okay. If you want to believe it, that's fine. Nothing, about that. But this is about getting deeper. Like, the shit and the deepness that it's going to go for 2024 is pretty crazy, and it's illuminating a lot of the issues from 2008 to 2024, and even how things were handled in 2008 with the fall and how they did all the um the bailouts and everything else instead of allowing things to crash and rebuilding. That was the lesson Pluto was trying to teach us, but of course we don't want to go through that, but we are going to be going through it now, 15 years later. And so this is the unfortunate part, or fortunate part, of rebuilding a new society and a new world. Yeah. So keep hope alive. Keep hope alive, right? And that's so important, is to keep hope alive. And, sound like my mother. Do your prayers. Do your prayers. So yesterday I had physio, and after physio and stuff, I had a little bit of dry acupuncture, which wasn't bad. I mean, it feels okay. I don't know if it did anything. Probably. And it just took so much out of me. Never thought it would. And then I found when we were doing different exercises and stuff, especially on my right leg, that how weak my right leg was. And I didn't realize how weak it was. I know it's been sore, and it's been, Steve's joking to me that I need a cane. I have a cane. I want a funky cane. I want something pretty. It's this is where you don't realize it till you have to go through all of these things. Anyways, and then by the time I came home and then had to walk from the bus and stuff like that, I was just like, whoa, so tired. I could even I was falling asleep all through the day, and then even in the evening, just it just took my, just like zapped out all of this energy. And I just thought to myself, my God, if I had to work, I'd probably be sleeping in a corner or in the back warehouse. I'd be sleeping in the back warehouse, because I'd be like, I can't do this. This is crazy. This is too much. So we have two jumper cards. We have the Queen of Cups. All right, which is the Queen of Cancer. I mean, she comes in, she's bringing in that beautiful energies. So she's coming forth. This is about the deeply attuned. This is about deeply attuned to the needs of others. Her warmth, she's tender, she's personality. This is about, how can I put aside some time that is just for me? So in comes the hippy dippy queen and saying, how are you putting time for you? How are you putting time for you to be able to take care of yourself so that you can continue on with the strength that you need, right? And if you're not putting that aside for yourself, if you're not bringing in, that empathetic energy for self, you can't bring it in for others, because it's not going to work. And then with the page who jumped out, it's like, how am I connecting with my creativity and spiritual nature? So when you take some time for yourself, when you take that time to really look deeply and take care of oneself. Go into the water, bless the water. Then you're able to bring in that creativity, right? Bring in and understand that water sign. We're in Cancer season still. It's sensitive. There's a lot of sensitivity that's coming up. Listening to your psychic ability is very important, right? And this is where it's going to be bringing in a lot of inspiration for you. So trusting in that. So, my loves, may the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all that you say and all that you do. If you're wanting a moon reading, they're $30. And if you are wanting to buy me a coffee, definitely you can e-transfer to thegurumama@gmail.com. All donations are most welcome. It helps keep the lights on. And it keeps the internet going. It allows for me to do many other things. And the most important thing, buying me a coffee helps keep mama going. All right. So blessed be everybody. We'll talk to you very soon and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.